Hey, welcome back everyone. So in today's video, we'll be coloring this headshot of Green Goblin. If you want the art file to follow along with, there's a link in the description box below. You can get that for free over at my Gumroad. If not, just take a screen grab of this. And yeah, let's jump in and do some coloring. We're inside the Procreate app, and if you look, I've got the flattened layers. I've got the black and white on the very top, and you see there's a sketch layer still kind of in there. I want to see how bad the initial sketch is. There you go. But that one's no longer needed. I do convert the top line art to multiply. Reason being is if I go to this and I show you what it looks like in normal mode, I do a lot of like little whiteout. Look at that, it's kind of messy and crazy, but you know, it looks better over white obviously because it's just I'm going back and forth from light to dark basically, and then I can always convert it to multiply, which makes it look like the regular line art that I need. Then I drop the flattened colors beneath there. It's probably also a good idea to take and select and delete this little bit of overlap. It's pretty easy to do though if you just go to each layer. Let's see, you should be able to hit select there, then go to the opposing layer and then do a four-finger tap or swipe and delete, and so you can clean it up with the layers and make sure the overlaps are there when you need them and not there when you don't. Or so for instance, like with the green here, you might not want the eyes and mouth just sitting over top. I never find an issue with that, but I've heard other people talk about it for traps and bleeds for color. I don't know if that would even really be a thing anymore, but people seem to make it sound like it is. Again, I've never experienced that problem, but again, you can go there, tap on it, go to select, then go back to that previous layer. Maybe even take the visibility off so you can see it work. Four-finger tap. Oh, go back to that layer. Four-finger tap and delete that out of the way. Then drop that back in. So again, that should give you everything you need. So now you've got your flats in there, and maybe zoom in, make sure it's all clean. I always have a little bit of messiness there, but I usually clean it up on the fly. And then what I do is I just add layers over top of each solid fill. Set it to clipping mask. Grab something like this. I can do either a selection method, so we'll do that, where just starting off with the main areas of shadow, like around here through the eye. Grab all that. Beauty is you can go right through other areas because it's get that airbrush scaled up. Because they're separated, right? So it's only going to affect the green. So I'll just use a soft brush right through there. And so what I generally do is first grab some bigger areas and define, kind of a starting point. But I'm always thinking about plane changes of the, the face of the character, the anatomy. So I might grab all through here. And you don't have to necessarily get it all right away. You can definitely do a lot of connecting, so I'll show you that. I'm just going to create that big soft airbrush kind of effect, but I'm just looking for that shape right there. And see how that kind of chisels out the face a little bit, and I'm going to keep building upon that. So I might even get into, I got a little bit of messiness right here. I'm going to take the smudge brush and just blend that. Sometimes you got to get in there a bit more effectively than that, but usually you can fix it with a smudge brush. And so I might grab some other areas, say like the side of the temple here. Let's try this shape, see if it helps. Because there's just parts where I want it to not look so plain. So I grab under the cheekbone here. You can always, let go of it, kind of pull back, see if it's working as you hoped, things like that. I won't do too much in that one area. I do kind of like to see it all come together bit by bit here, if I can. So I'm going to get the side of the nose. Now the beauty of this too is that's a floating layer, so we can erase this back. You can adjust things with these different adjustments, curves and balance, color, all sorts of neat things that you can do it's a really effective way to work. You know, for a long time I didn't use clipping masks, and it was funny because a lot of people would comment on the channel, and maybe not a lot, but a few, enough to notice, and they'd say, why aren't you using a clipping mask? And this is back with, I want to say it was Photoshop days, but, which I still use Photoshop, but just, you know, not as much. And, yeah, so people are always checking me on it, like, what are you doing, man? Clipping masks are the bee's knees, dude. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever that means. No, they didn't really say bee's knees, but, you know, whatever lingo they used at the time. So I'm going to grab the brow area here. I don't know if I need to mimic the point right there, but I kind of want to see what it'll look like. So sometimes I do this weird little stuff, even though, if you notice, I'm just kind of tracing what I did with the eyebrow, which almost seems a bit weird, but I don't know, maybe it'll look cool with a shadow to do that. Maybe not. Always experimenting, folks. If you're not experimenting, you are not growing as an artist or anything else for that matter. So, yeah, I don't hate it. I'm gonna leave it. So, that's what it is. Okay, so even this side of the nose, I'll get this area, probably do something like this. I just want the distinction. Really, I just want to push the bridge, the center bridge of the nose out more, so I'm putting a little shadow on each side. I don't know that you would get much shadow over there, but again, I'm trying to figure out ways to propel certain parts of the artwork forward and back, and you know, it's just a kind of a push-pull kind of thing that you do, and also adding little bits of, you know, style and charisma. Can you add charisma in your art? I don't know, maybe. Try. Sure, you can do whatever you want, folks. The world is your playground. Okay, so something like that. So yeah, with these, again, I can play around with these shapes. They don't have to be, you know, just think of it like this. You don't have to go like insanely smooth to the shape. I think that you want to try to mix it up, you know, thick to thin, a little bit of bounce and bend to that shadow. Maybe. I'm going to try to take it even a little further, hopefully illustrate my point. Because I just think that, you know, if you can get that to have more wave in it, it's going to look more organic. Yeah, I think there's a little more depth doing it that way. Okay, and then the side of the mouth here, take all of this. Might work. Now keep in mind, I'm pressing really light, and I always get people ask questions like, you know, what's your pressure settings, or like, how do you get your brush? My brush doesn't work like your brush does, you know, things like that. And I always tell people you really have to just play around with your pressure curve, and it's hard for me to relate that information because my hand weight and pressure, you know, the way that I use my hand would be entirely different than you. So when you show somebody the pressure curve, where's that sucker? I don't even know where it's at. It's in here somewhere. There's actually one on the brush level. About this brush, properties. Where'd it go? Haven't adjusted it in a while, so I totally forgot where it is. Dynamics? No. Apple Pencil. Pressure, so you can see these settings here. I could have swore there was one on at the shape, at the brush level, but I'm not seeing it now. Is it that? Hold on. It's in there somewhere, I promise you. I don't know where it went though. Which I guess it's got to be right here under Apple Pencil, and it's just, I'm confusing it with, you know, the tilt, estimated pressure, you know, these different pressure settings, but that's not the pressure curve. Hold on, let me go back over to here somewhere. And you know what? This is the way that I do it, even after using this software for an abundant amount of time. So right there, pressure and smoothing. Okay, so right there under preferences. So you see where my pressure curve is. And again, I don't know. I feel bad showing you this because, I mean, I want to give you all the information you can that I can, so that you can make the best choice and you know, getting your stuff right. But again, it's so hard to relate. I mean, you know, I'm a big guy. I got big arms. My hands are huge. I'm like a monster of a man. You know, I'm not trying to brag or nothing, but I mean, you know, I bench a lot. And so I won't say how much, but it's a lot. And so, you know, our strength of our hands are entirely different. You know, you could have these tiny little baby hands, and you know, how is that going to help you if I tell you what my pressure settings are? You know what I mean? So you have to just figure these things out. What I will say is that, you know, you get your adjustment on the right here for opacity, the lower right. You play with that, and then also you just kind of you really have to practice trying things with a different touch and feel. I think I'm gonna lose my selection there. So there's times I practice with different pressure curves. You know, obviously, and different brushes require different settings. So a lot of times I'll adjust the pressure curve differently based upon painting, drawing, and inking. So I've talked about that quite a bit, and it really does matter. Like, it changes the way that I kind of utilize certain brushes. So there's that, and then also I also try to be very careful and aware of my speed. So much so that I really time myself on a lot of jobs or a lot of pieces like this, and I purposely slow down at certain intervals, and I notice that I kind of get a different connection to the artwork, that I actually start to focus more and do a little bit better, where if I'm blazing through it, I'm probably going to be, you know, I'll probably be happy that I got it done sooner, but I'm probably going to make some mistakes and get some sense of frustration at times. So yeah, I think with artwork, at least for me and where I'm at, I have to kind of like relax into it and chill out and take my time. But again, that's something else. That how do you relate that to other people? We're all so different. I mean, and that's just where I'm at in my current art journey. Like, I don't remember being that way 10 years ago. Like, it was totally different for me. I think it was always speed, 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 and I don't think I even really thought much about, you know, an ebb and flow or relaxing into the work. I just did the thing. Maybe that was better. I don't know. So yeah. Anyways, it's hard to relate some of this stuff. I want to again give you guys all the data I can to help you make your own decisions. You know, you got to cherry pick what applies to you, obviously. But it's, you know, some of it's not going to apply to you, and that's just the way it is. Some of it might downright make you angry and make you unsubscribe. I don't know. It is what it is, folks. It is what it is. Okay, so another thing is taking the soft brush and just kind of glancing around, you know, kind of more of a globe. I consider this like global shadowing and global illumination. So where, you know, when you're grabbing just like specific parts, you're just like pushing and pulling parts of the face and you know, the anatomy and stuff like that. But then it's good to do like this bigger shadow. It's also, I think, a good idea to play around. Let me get a few more of these bits of cell shading. I'll show you something else you can do with the that larger approach. You know, keep in mind too that with the selection tool, you can pick up and set down anywhere you want. And so if you're really getting into this and worried about losing some of your hard work and as far as your selections go, then you just basically give yourself more outs. You know, so you just say, I'm working on the side of the head here. Maybe this is a hard curve for me to get. I'm going to stop there, work down into here, go back up this way. I'm not really going to shadow this, but you see what I mean? How you can stop multiple times, and those are all, I guess I will shadow that. Those are all undoable, redoable stops, which is really neat. I've said it before, I absolutely love the selection tool. It's my favorite out of all of them. And that's what really made me switch to coloring this way, because the selection tool is so frustrating in different softwares. And I'm like, it is amazing in this software. Like, it just nailed the exact shape I'm looking for with ease. Maybe not exact. I think there's a little bit of choppiness in parts that, you know, little bends that I don't get just the way I want. But, you know, you you got to have some sense of letting go, I think. You know, like, so you don't want too much control. Like there's definitely a part where you can feel like you're too in control, I think. And I think with coloring, I look at it like this: when you see people that do coloring really well in Photoshop and they throw the selection randomly, and it looks like in some areas, and they get these very choppy selections, but it looks super cool. I think that's kind of a sign that sometimes you just got to have a little less control. It's not about getting the exact shape in every spot that you think you need it. Or it's just a compromise because you don't have control, so you have to let go. You know, God, it sounds like I'm talking about life. We have no control. Just let go. Just let go. There's no such thing as control. All right. Let's say that this is enough. I still feel like I want to add more. See, and then I want to get in here and I want to like add more shapes inside the shapes. Like you can just go crazy with this. You know, I mean, cell shading can really just be a lot of fun. Highly addictive, I think. But let's say, I don't know, we get one on the side of the ear. So we'll say just about this, because I want to show you some other parts of coloring it. And I know this is, what are we at time-wise? Holy moly, 16 minutes. That's crazy. Okay, so I'll go to a light source, same thing, add a layer, set it to clipping mask. I'm not going to rush. Let me slow down. Just relax. Relax. You guys aren't leaving, right? Everybody staying? Sit in your seat. Don't leave. Okay, so I'm going to grab like the front of the nose, you know, the highest point of the nose. Start very light. I think that with highlights, it's very important to err on the side of less is more, and you can always add more anyways, right? So you just kind of slowly build up to it, get some of these shapes going. Maybe start with a bigger shape, but very light. No, maybe that's too light. Remember, you can undo and redo your selection. So I just did a 2-finger tap to go back. Let go. Do another one. Kind of build up to the highest point of where I'm perceiving this light source to be. You can also zoom in if we need to. Punch that up. I'm not really digging that shape, but I'm going to leave it because we don't have much time here. So also you can obviously grab multiple areas at once. I think that this makes sense if they are basically, if you're perceiving in your mind that they are on the same plane. Okay, so when I say planes, because it's hard to say plane changes on a face like this where, you know, it's kind of organic. There's a lot of, you know, not a lot, but some wrinkles. But you still think of the highest surface of each area. Well, if the cheek and the, I don't know what this fold next to the nose is called, but this wrinkle next to it, if they're facing the same way, then they're going to receive light somewhat similarly. I would say the cheek is more rounded, so it's going to probably get a highlight, probably a bit differently than I'm explaining. I mean, let's face it, I'm not always right, and I'm just basically guessing as I create this stuff for you, but you know, hopefully you understand what I'm saying is that I feel like they would sort of be in the same realm of a plane change, but obviously different shapes, things like that, to where this area down here, you know, maybe I would have that receive a little less light. Maybe not do the higher, you know, the specular highlight, or I'm probably going to add another level of lighting when I'm done. So I'm probably just not going to add as much here. I still want some light. Yeah, it's hard to explain, but we have to like think of the head and the face as all these chiseled parts. You know, the nose, it's pretty evident. You know, you get the side planes of the nose shadowed, the highlight on the front bridge. Hopefully that's pretty evident of what I'm saying there as far as plane changes go. But the more you can start to perceive that in your work, then it becomes easier to do this type of stuff, I would say. And so as we work to the top of the head here, probably intensify the highlights a little bit. And that should also give that feeling of, you know, that the light source is up here, closer to the top of the head than it is to the lower part of the face. So again, we could just kind of beef that up as we get up there, and I don't know if that looks right, but if not, we can always erase it back. Again, it's a floating layer, very non-destructive way to do this. So I'm going to try to be really light with the highlight down there. I do want some light source down here. I just don't want it to be as defined, as strong. Now another thing I will generally do is add in different parts at different times and bounce back and forth. So I'll make sure that if I go to my color swatch there, that my different tones that I've been using are kind of lined up in the history, which they are. Obviously, I haven't used hardly any right now at this point. But so I'll make sure that's there. Or sometimes I'll even paint it right on the canvas as a separate swatch. Or, if you got enough solid areas, it's pretty easy to just select and go by holding your finger over there, right? So, but what I like to also do is add things in that might help me to get a better idea of, say the highlights in this case. So I'm going to go back to the green, and I'm going to put a shadow of blue from the bottom up. Hopefully this will make the, put a little bit on the side of the nose here, under the brows, but mainly at the bottom. So hopefully that'll make it look a little more interesting. And then also, I'm going to get a little bit onto the hood here. So again, clipping mask over that. I think I'm going to try the same blue actually. I don't know if that's a right decision, but give it a shot, see what we get. I just realized I didn't get any rendering on the back of the hood thingy there. Yeah, I don't feel like it's dark enough, so I'm going to bring that way down just to darken it. There we go. A little better. And so now I'm starting to get a better feeling of where to take this. I mean, it's still, still got a lot to do here, but so what I'll do now is take a light source on, and I'm going to drop that in between. This is another neat thing. If you add a layer in between existing clipping masks, it automatically sets it to a clipping mask. So it's just, a little bit of a shortcut, not much, but everything helps. So soft brush, I'm going to grab another light source, pretty bright. I'm going to go ahead and set this to add. And so all I want to do here is put like this nice bright light source through the middle of the face. You see it's way too strong. Add is a very powerful effect. So I'm going to double tap there with my finger, 2-finger tap. And I'll pull over to the side. And I want to find just the right intensity. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go back with an erase in the pen. And I'll just get in here and erase, through here where some shadows would be. And it almost provides like another randomized, not randomized I guess, but another neat little cell shading effect. See that? And it's pretty quick. It's just another way to kind of drop in a highlight and adjust it on the fly here. I think I'm going to bump it up just a little bit. 2-finger tap, swipe to the right, intensify it. Mainly too, because what it helps me do here is I can see the effect that I'm generating by erasing. So I just want to make sure that that's heading in the right direction. Like that. So you can like quickly get some of these little details going in here. Almost like you're drawing out. There's a lot of times I like to draw in shadows as well. I haven't done much of that in this video, but I do try that from time to time. And actually, you know what? I'll erase back the top lip so it darkens that just a little bit. Okay. Yeah, and I can always pull back from this. So if I feel like this is just too strong, because you know what generally happens, the more you add, it just everything affects the neighboring colors. You know, so you might add something, go, oh, you know what, it was looking good, but now I'm not digging the light source. So I like to keep these layers separated for quite a while. Adding a new layer, set the clipping mask, and so now I'm going to. I'll show you how I draw in some of them. So I'm going to select the purple from the hood, and then I'm just going to go to a bit darker, maybe a little less saturated, and then I'll just draw that in with a this tech pen. Make that quite a bit larger. Now I like doing this at full opacity, and you see what's going to happen there. I didn't get the purple in right. Let me fix that real quick. So I'm going to go back to purple here. Go back to my history swatch there. I got to get in here and clean this. Oh, you know what? It's not even the purple. It is the green that I have to erase. I'm a messy colorist. Oh yeah, and that's the purple. So I go there, erase that. Sorry folks, I got bad eyes here. Never fun. Take care of your vision, kids. Okay, so where was I at? Did I have that layer already set? Yeah, right there. So now I'll go back to the history, the darker purple, and fill that in again. I still missed some. Come on. Alright, anyways, I'm just going for it. I'll fix it later. So let's fill all this in. Shadow here. Darker at the bottom. Darker on the side of this. Yeah, and I think really the selection method is superior than doing this. It's just something that I don't know. I like drawing it in once in a while, but you know, you see people that do the selection method and they get insanely fast with it. I don't think they do a whole lot of drawing it in, but I don't know. I like different ways of getting the job done. I like playing around with these different effects, mixing it up a tad. So, and then also mixing up the brushes, obviously. So now I'll take the same layer, and I'm just going to put a soft brush right in there, hopefully soften up some of the parts that I'm not digging. Like, so to me, this part right here, I'm going to try blending this. So just taking the smudge brush and moving this around. Oh, I made a mess right there. Let me go back. Yeah, I'm not liking that shape. Let me just go back to the soft brush. Try to erase that back a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I like that better. So now, what else? Let's add a light source right here while we're at it. 30 minutes in the video. I'm so sorry, folks. I hope that you guys enjoy this long content. I know people say they do, but then I watch like the analytics for the video, and they're like, the drop-off rates are insane. Nobody watches that much of a longer video. It's so weird though, but I would think that hopefully you gain value from it because it's, you know, long form content. So I'll just say that we're doing it for the few of you that really do sit here and watch it. So I guess that's what it's all about anyways, right? It's not about trying to appease some large demographic. Like, that's the bad thing about studying marketing. It's like you got to do it as an online artist, I guess, but then it's kind of, it kind of sways you from what's really important, and that's just like taking care of your peeps, the people that are really there for you, not trying to gain some large database of people that, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like, just don't be a slave to the analytics, I guess. Don't be a slave to the algorithm. All right, I don't know if that highlights too much, but I like highlights, so I'm gonna leave it. Oh, and that is set to add, isn't it? Maybe that is too much. But again, we can always adjust it back and forth with the slider. I'll go ahead and leave it right about there for now. Let's get in the eyes. Those are always fun to do. First, I'm going to check and see how bad I got the basic shapes. Not too. Whoa, what happened there? Oh, it was on the wrong brush. Okay. That messed up when you do something and you're like, what happened? What did I just do? Like, you're not even aware of what you're doing. That's always the weirdest feeling. And you want to blame it on the device, right? That's what I do. Stupid computer. Okay, so let's say the green, I gotta touch that up. Might as well use a little bit lighter version right there on the bottom eyelids. Gives it just a little bit more depth. That's probably too bright, but I can always shade it back. Let's do the eyes. So with this, it looks like some of the extra little lines there, yeah, are from the black and white. So I'm going to clean that up just real quick. Okay, and I don't know, is this eyes yellow or red? They're yellow, right? I need to pull some reference real quick. Un momento as I Google the Green Goblin. Yeah, most of the time they're yellow. Okay. I mean, I guess you could throw red in there, right? No, seems like they're always yellow. Okay, fair enough. And so now, back over to this layer. And again, if you start to get where you're out of layers, I mean, stuff like this is pretty simple. You could just do a 2-finger swipe to the right. That will lock to transparent layers, pixels, sorry. And then pick whatever color you want to use to shadow with. I don't know, maybe something like this. And just, practice drawing the effect right on the that layer. It's not that big of a deal. I usually add like a shadow first, like a hard edge shadow. I mean, you see a lot of what I do is repetitive, right? Soft shadow on the sides. What you can do too, so it doesn't blend too much, I guess it would blend. But if you didn't want it to blend, you could set your brush to multiply on the brush rendering mode. So you go here, rendering, see how it's set to normal under blend mode. You can set that to multiply. And what it'll do is it'll keep each shape, it'll keep darkening each shape as an overpass. So you won't lose shapes by darkening. Where if you don't do that, and you're darkening with the same color, like you can see it's just blending together on the sides. But I actually don't mind that, so I'm gonna leave that. I'll show you how you can use it for the lights. And actually, you know what, let me put like a little bit of red in there. Alright, so it's gotta have something. Let's go ahead and set that to, let's try either color or multiple. Let's try overlay. See what we get there. Yeah, I just want to colorize it just a little bit on the sides. And then I'll go to a brighter yellow, and then I will set the same one to add. And then just highlight above the eye. or, you know, on the eye and above the pupil is what I was thinking, but it's kind of creepy, right? And then if you want to make the eye look more wet, you do like the little glare on the bottom. Maybe one off to the side. Too much? I don't know. I don't know anybody will see that, but I'm gonna add it anyways. And then you can add like couple little added glares here and there. Okay. And then what else? Oh, the teeth. Yes, and that's same layer. I'm just gonna go ahead and first I'm gonna give them a little bit of a yellowing because they're too white. Oh, remember to take your blending mode back to what it needs to be. Add's not gonna work. Let's go to normal. There we go. Push those pearly yellows back. And let's get a bit of a shadowing. I'll go to a solid brush there. Like that. Now this is probably too dark of a shadow. I'll know as soon as I pull back. I don't know, it kind of looks creepy though, and that's what I'm going for. It's creepy, so... Man, I really don't like how I did the middle teeth here. Just had a couple of bumps there and call it good, I guess, but... Yeah, I feel like I missed an opportunity to make those look as cool as I could have. Darn it. Darn you, Rob. Okay, so, yeah, I really beat myself up. Figuratively. I don't punch myself anymore. That was a bad habit that I told myself, no more. No more of that silly stuff. Okay, so, something like that. And let's go to a soft brush. Again, overly repetitive techniques here for you. Now, notice how it's blending together. I want a little bit of that. I felt like it was a little too rigid. I don't know. The shapes were too bold for teeth. So I kind of like the fact that it's blending it back. But now what I'll do is I'll pick something in this yellow. I will set this to blend mode to add. Keep in mind too, if you don't want to keep bouncing the blend mode back and forth, swipe over, duplicate the brush, or you gotta hold it. No, what happened? Does that normally swipe? Oh, I'm in recent. You gotta go to the actual brush, not in your recent folder. Then you swipe over, duplicate it, change your blending mode, change the name by going into here. A lot easier, then you don't have to do what I'm doing here if you want to save some time. Okay, so set to add mode. I'm just gonna hit the front face, which I think is a little better. Oh, maybe it's too much, but right about there. And obviously I could get in and detail all the individual teeth. I could try to add in some additional light sources. Maybe a little bit more on that ear. Feels like it's a bit plain. So I'm going to go back to regular soft brush. And where's it at? Right here it should be. I just feel like I didn't add anything to this ear. It looks undone or unfinished. But it's really the same process. Again, it's overly repetitive, I know, but we're already getting pretty long into the video, so I don't want to bore you too much with the same stuff. But you just keep doing this and building upon it and finding more and more shapes, and you can really just go wild with the cell shading. I mean, some people just, they build so many cool shapes into this stuff. and it just I don't know, it's like it just keeps getting more and more interesting. I mean, maybe at some point there's, you know, diminishing returns on your investment or something, I don't know, but it seems like you can just keep adding these shapes, and you know, as long as it's nice and subtle, the transitions from the layers of the shapes have to be there. Like, you can't just randomly throw in whatever. But I don't know. I've seen a lot of cool techniques for it. It's worth playing around with. I didn't do much on the lips, did I? I don't know what I would. Kind of went a little crazy with the texture there. Maybe just kind of scribble through here. See what that looks like, and then glance through the middle with the soft brush. And maybe do that one more time. I don't know if that really helps, but I'll leave it. And that's it. Well, and then really I would probably take the background and add a quick effect. So let's try that, and we'll call it done. And why didn't that take? Oh, must be set to multiply or something. Go back to that. I'll tell you what, I'll just add a layer since and by the way, if you don't know how many layers you can afford to use, I mean, it's all dependent upon your canvas size right here, okay? And then you go right to layers. So if I'm at dimensions of 4800 pixels by 6000, my max layers are 19, right? So, and it shows you how many is used. And so, and you got to remember too, if you know, this is probably more detail than we really need for something like this, but if you need more, you just back down the size with a crop and resize. You got to make sure that this is locked and resample is on, and then slowly back down the pixel data. Remember, keep your proportions in check, and then it will give you more layers. So hopefully that helps you. But we're fine here. We got enough layers, so I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit of like a quick light source behind his head. I don't know if I should have wanted blue there. Does that look alright? And then another cool thing to do is like throw in, you know, some texture. You get all sorts of cool texture brushes in here. Kirby Crackle. I mean, some of these, by the way, are ones I've made, so don't think they're all in here. I'll be bringing out another free set too on my Gumroad, because Procreate's got a bunch of cool brushes. This is one of my favorites, a Nico Roll, and so, you know, it's just got kind of a cool texture to it. You can play around with, you know, maybe try some darker effect of it through the edge. You know, it's just kind of neat. I like how it spins around. It's kind of fun. Okay, and then spray paint, elements, driven snow. Let's try some of that. I don't like how it's so small. But anyways, you can even just drop some in, and then you can scale. Well, you'd have to do that on a separate layer, wouldn't you? See, now we'll start running out of layers. Drop some in, scale it, move it around. You know, just always be inventive with this stuff. Don't think that you just have to, you know, use it like in a linear way. You know, it's not just like, these brushes are so versatile. Well, that one's kind of cool. Why is it so small? Which I guess you can get in there and scale it up through the shape, scatter rotation count. But yeah, you can generally, right there, brush behavior, you can scale up the minimal size, maximum size. There you go. That's what you do. I mean, I don't, you'd want this effect, but I'm just trying to give you some ideas to play around, build up some textures. That's what I do a lot of times when I don't feel like drawing a background. It's a little bit of a cheat. But I really just wanted some stippling. Yeah, there we go. Some spatta. Yeah, you usually got to use a couple different kinds in conjunction with one another to really get this effect to look cool. And again, I don't like how it's so small. Where is that at? Where are you? You're in here somewhere. Okay, right there. So again, you could bump that up. Just kind of scribble it through there until you get enough of it. Yeah, I need to make a more dense version of this brush. And then once you got enough of that, then the driven snow one would probably look kind of cool. Let me see. Because again, it just gives you that little bit of variation at that point. Okay, but that's enough. This is a really long video. Sorry it took so long to color a face. I don't know what my problem is. But hopefully you've learned a good amount from this video and you gleaned some insight from it. I would love to know what you think, as well as what else you'd like to see in the future. And more content is on the way very soon. As always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and bye for now.